Alright, beep, let's do this. LUI in the house. Gentlemen, you're looking at is my friend Arash Rahbar. You guys know him. He placed second in Mr. Olympia Classic Physique. Although, I thought he should have won, but that's another subject. Anyway, me and this gentleman, we chat on a daily basis. And most of our chats are not even fitness related. We talk about cars. This guy he's a motorhead. I mean, he is a piston head. He loves cars, every fast bikes, and so on and so forth. Today, though, exceptionally, actually, we spoke again about fitness. He plans to do the Arnold Classic next year. He told me, bro, what do you think if I do, a posing routine resembling that of Kai Green? Because obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger liked the posing of Kai Green when he won versus Cedric. I said, bro, Arnold, in my opinion, he was sarcastic, right? He was saying that Kai Green had a better posing, whereas, in his opinion, Cedric has a better muscularity in a sense. I think it's the opposite. Everybody knows that Kai Green is more developed. I mean, he has more of a maturity, more of an eccentric kind of physicality, whereas Cedric is more mainstream and he is a classical poser, right? So, and a lot of people know that Arnold loves to troll, and I think that was a troll. So, don't, bro, forget about Kai Green. You won't do this kind of upside down poses, this kind of rather special Egyptian type of posing that Kai Green loves to do. He's the only one who can do them, and he's a character in that sense. God bless him. However, I told him, bro, why don't you think about a guy that was a bodybuilder, which is resembling you now? I mean, that era of bodybuilding resembled today's classical physique in a sense. And I told him about this gentleman, Francis Benfato. A lot of you asked me, bro, who's your favorite bodybuilders of all time? And quite frankly, there's a lot of them. But this guy is up there. Francis Benfato was always my main motivation when I was a kid. He was French, as I mentioned, and all the magazines I used to read back then were in French. There was no, muscular development. Back then we had only Muscle and Fitness and also Flex magazine translated to the French language. And this guy was wow. He came into the scene and he brought back some old-fashioned kind of physique. It was even classical, even by 90s epoch standards. He was smaller than everybody, smaller than even Lee Labrada. As a testament, let's take a look at one of his videos actually of that year when he came in. Sorry for the quality, it is not that loyal, but we should have an idea. Look at that. I think he was just around 170, 175 max. Dude is not tall, of course. At this level, we can guess that this guy is not using the vitamin G. He does not need it to develop this muscularity. He was very moderate in his vitamins consumption, on record. Right? And he was a martial artist as well, very flexible. He came from France to this Mr. Olympia. I think he placed number 5, of course. There was a big guy next to him called Mike Christian. Mike Christian was friend with Lee Labrada, and story goes to tell, he went to him and told him, bro, do not approach Lee Labrada in the comparison round, because he would have beaten him. He was a threat to Lee Labrada. Look at that. Very good conditioning, not busy, not big by today's standards. This guy will never be on an IFBB pro bodybuilding stage nowadays. He's too small by today's standards. But nonetheless, the musculature was there, muscle bellies, huge tricep, complete chest, waistline is absolutely loyal. He was just proper. Some people compare him to a smaller version of Bob Paris of the 80s, Baby Please. Properly conditioned. Look at the tricep right there, look. That's what's up. Of course, today's bodybuilders cannot do this kind of posing. They're just too big, they're too heavy, they cannot move about in this fashion. It's just not feasible. So in my reckoning, this will ripple down, or it will be reproduced in classic physique. They will be like this. And I'm also about to make not a prophecy, but just a prediction. I'm not basically prophesizing that bodybuilding, raw bodybuilding, will die, like female bodybuilding is dead now. But I think that the classic physique, the very sweet spot between physique and bodybuilding, will be even more so popular year by year. I mean, even this year, the debut, the quality was amazing. There was a little bit of a scandal in my opinion, because, you know, some guys should not even be in top 3, and they was there because of politics in my opinion. But it will get better, it will get more recognition year by year, and we will be able to see this. This is just raw beauty. And because of you guys, most of you fans do not suffer from bigorexia. So naturally you'll be attracted to this. This will be your main attraction. You'll admire this, you'll aspire to be this. And to be honest, it is a more of a healthy physique, even if you are basically on anabolic chicken or vitamin S, because it is very moderate, it is rather minute. By the mouth of the big boy, actually, I spoke to Physique. He told me, bro, these guys do not have to eat the same cakes we eat in the same quantity, if you guys know what I mean. He told me, bro, it's easy for these guys. And yes, from the vial, look at that, wow, damn, properly executed, Mr. Francis Benfato. That was absolutely loyal. All right, so let's go back here. So yeah, by the confession of Phil, he told me, bro, these guys do not have to basically consume the same quantity and the same technicality when it comes to the vitamins and so on and so forth, if you guys know what I mean. So I'm gonna show you pictures of this guy lately when he is old, and as a testament, he is still healthy, right? He is still healthy because he did not exaggerate in that field, if you guys know what I mean. And nobody can tell me, bro, these arms are not big enough or this and that. I mean, they were huge. He has some huge forearms, triceps was taking his independence. It was like a 4th of July every day and all day. It was just good. And as I said, in my opinion, classic physique will be the very niche, the very ecosystem where bodies like this will absolutely flourish and they will prosper. That's what's up. Let's go back in time actually and admire this marvelous physique that has been forgotten. This is a non-official pose. Actually, even what's his name, Miloš Sarcev, was doing this as well. So was Bob Paris, as we mentioned. And this year, the koala hybrid, my friend Joshua Lenartovitz, dared to do this similar classical poses. Baby please, he was 261. My forecast is that Josh will not repeat it because he will get big. He will get too big to do that. But Francis, when he was on, he was properly on. Story goes to tell that Joe Weider, may he rest in peace, back then, he took the medal from Lee Haney, like the golden medal from Lee Haney, and gave it to Francis Benfato in a way to say, bro, you are like the future, you might be the future because people like you. And he invited him to move to the US. So he moved to the US. They needed him, you know, for photo shoots, for promotions and this and that. So I think he moved to the West Coast and he was given a paycheck of $5,000 a month to take care of himself. But I think he didn't do good. I think he had some family issues with his girlfriend back then, this and that. So he did not flourish well in the US and A. He is Latin, this Frenchman. Comparison between him and Samir Banout, the Lebanese, baby please, Mr. Olympia 1983. He was definitely smaller than him. I mean, a decade later, but he was definitely more slipstream than him in a sense. And we don't see these kind of posters nowadays of bodybuilders just standing there, not doing a pose in a sense, right? I mean, you don't even see them nowadays. Bodybuilders, if they do a poster or a pose, they always grunt and do those most muscular pose, like they're about to attack or about to insult you. We no longer see this. And again, my guess is that it will flourish and it will come back. Wow, this was my poster. Talking about poster, I had this very poster when I was a kid. I was mesmerized by it. How can a human being stand like this? His arms are backward. We can see a void between the lower back and the arm, and the chest is just like that. It's just bulgy with a very flat midsection. Nowadays, of course, today's bodybuilders cannot afford to do it. The stomach is too overly developed. Of course, the vitamin G makes it prominent in every situation. Right? That's it. This guy is somehow forgotten, but for me, he's definitely up there. The crucifix pose. Of course, his leg, I think he was injured at some point, so his legs were not loyal all the time. But this actually crucifix pose was absolutely a sight to be seen. He was not Paul Dillette, but nonetheless, he was just proper. As a testament, as I mentioned, this is him. I mean, nowadays, this picture is few years old. I think he was almost like 47, 48. You can see he is bigger right now. I mean, he tried probably, I mean, some newly developed candies, baby please, and you can see he looked bigger than when he was young, right? As a testament, properly executed ground crucifix pose. We don't see these anymore. I think Boo Bunder does some kind of a crucifix pose variation, but it doesn't look like this in a sense. So that's it. A lot of you ask me what is actually my favorite bodybuilder. So I can tell you about a lot of versions. I love Flex Wheeler 1993 way more than the 1998, 1999 when he tried to catch in the SAS game with Ronnie Coleman, right? I dislike that version. Even when it comes to Ronnie Coleman, I prefer his 1998, 1999 versions before he became spillover, he became big. A lot of people go back to his 2003, which was granted marvelous, but personally I prefer the smaller version. Even Kevin Levroni, I salute his 1992 Helsinki Mr. Olympia version. So those are the milestone years in my book. This is him now. I think he did a FIBO in 2012 and 2013. You can see that he is grainy. Thing is, he injured his his right pectoral, so it's not that loyal. You can see it here, but you can notice that he's still healthy because the guy did not exaggerate in the consumption of the supplements that these guys consume, as you guys know, and he looks massive. The muscle is healthy. It is grainy. It looks like it comes from Kuwait in a sense. If you guys know what I mean, that is the clean muscle. There is some cleanness to it, some purity, right? It was not somehow developed in your hot tub, if you guys know what I mean. There is no toxicity, overly exaggerated there. Proper, so he's still healthy. And this was in 2013. You can notice he has that way of stretching his arm, so the elbow joint is definitely special in his case. I think he was discussing here about some nerve stretching, if I'm not mistaken, back then. So this was him. I think he did a competition also in Australia about 2 or 3 years ago, and this was back in the days of Lee Haney, and a guy next to him who was placing second to Lee Haney, Mr. Richard Gaspari. Richard Gaspari is a very established businessman in the supplement industry. He still trains, probably the same age or even younger, but with all due respect, the type of muscularity and the shape of Richard Gaspari is nowhere to be compared to that of Francis Benfajo. We've seen also Kevin Levroni came back this year. His upper body still looks clean. Now, granted, we all saw that, you know, he had some issues with the legs, but when it comes to the muscular development up there, it did not. I mean, there are some cues. He's just, granted, he's still smaller, but he's still looking healthy up there. And that is a testament that Kevin Levroni did not exaggerate when it comes to the supplements and the vitamins and the anabolic chicken of back in the day. And that plays a role. I mean, his receptors are not overcooked. He is not chemically burnt. That's what's up. And again, for the third time, I remind you, the classic physique, it will flourish because of that. Because of that, I do not, and you know, God forbid, I do not predict myself or anybody else making videos in the future saying, rest in peace, this guy of classic physique died because of this. Rest in peace, this guy of classic physique died because of this. No, because they're not obliged to push the limits, in a sense, for two things. The muscularity is rather reasonable, if we can say so, right? And also the conditioning, that they're not pushed to show glutes. So nobody is pushing that extreme. Granted, they need to be diced, but it is reasonable, and it somehow does not require the guy to push the limit over a healthy boundaries. Baby, please look at his back. This is him when he was old. This back is absolutely loyal. It's an amazing, amazing back. That's what's up. The LUI does bestow a proper salute upon thee on a daily. Don't forget to like the video and tell me if you agree about my with my prediction that classic physique will be the very ecosystem that will be probably more and more famous, more and more popular amongst you guys, and it might dethrone the raw bodybuilding in few years to come. Because God knows, truth needs to be told. These guys are becoming freaky by the year. Even the 212 categories, baby, please, is just freakiness, and it will basically still attract the big orexia guy, but it will be a smaller niche in the future. In about 5 years, probably classic physique will be even more popular than bodybuilding.